So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. It is currently cold and blustery outside, and we're starting today's video off inside for two reasons. Number one, I am trying out a new camera and microphones. I just got a new camera the other day. This is the first time that I'm using it. It is a Sony A7 Mark IV, I think is what it is. I have big plans for this camera, and I'm just starting to now familiarize myself with it. The other reason is to let you know that we have fire starter available right now. Probably won't have any for a while, so if you need some, now would be the time. We have both the 4-pound bags, the 1.75 pound bags. They're 2 for $25. Oh, and we also have the big boxes of 10 1.75 pound bags for you guys that are reselling it or adding it into your firewood bundles. But all that stuff will be in the description and a pinned comment as well. Hope you enjoy today's video. Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. We'll start today's video as soon as the skid loader is done doing its regen. All right, so the skid loader is done with its regen, so I just shut her down. I've been having a bad run when it comes to timing of regens on equipment. Like this past Saturday, for example, I wanted to come down here to the Woodyard first thing in the morning. It was pretty early, and I don't like making a lot of noise first thing in the morning. So I came down with the LX4020, the tractor, and picked up a lift of lumber, took it up to the house, and the tractor partway up wanted to do a regen. So I always just let it do its thing, but you know, it sits there and runs for 10 or 15 minutes wide open when I'm not using it. And just like here with the skid loader, I carried a couple logs around. I had to cut the ends off a few of them. I'll explain that in a minute. And it wants to do a regen. I've had people tell me that it's a simple solution. I just need to plan my work better. And I think that's ridiculous. I don't use these things all the time, you know, for a couple hours straight. I move logs, I get in one machine, out of it, get in another one, and I can't plan my work around doing a regen. What they were suggesting was I find more work to do when it wants to do a regen, and that's just ridiculous. You can't plan your work that way when you use them the way that I use them. And you just have to kind of deal with it and let it run wide open and burn more fuel, and you know, that's the way it's set up. But anyway, this big maple right here, it's a little bit big for my sawmill. That's about 40 inches in diameter, and we actually came up with a plan for this one. I talked to Chris Martin. That's my buddy that's got the iDry kiln. Well, he has a guy with a mill that will cut this, and we're going to slab it, and then Chris will dry it in his kiln. But it'll be some huge slabs, and Chris has a market for that. So that log right there should turn into a pretty decent buck. This one, really nice white oak, had some metal in it, and I feel confident. You can still see a little bit of staining right there, but I cut a couple rounds off it and the staining is going away. So I think I got it out of there with one of the big rounds that I cut. That's a really nice white oak. That's about, I think the small end's about 30 inches. That tree's a couple hundred years old, easy. Real nice white oak. Here's another giant one right here. This one looks really good. No metal in this one. Little bit of rot right here in the center, but that won't hurt a thing. A lot of good wood in that. That big one up top, it's got some metal in it. And by the way, I knew all that when I bought these logs, but I don't pay much for them because the big mills don't want to deal with it. And I can cut a few pieces off the end, use them for firewood, and I can actually do pretty well with loads like this. For example, if I put a little work in like I'm doing, these two logs right here will pay for the entire load once these are processed into lumber and slabs easily. Probably 2 loads. So I'm starting to clean up here in front of the woodshed. We got 2 bays almost completely full. That last one is going to be almost all oak. We won't need that for, you know, not next winter. That'll be for the winter following. But yeah, looks nice when it gets filled up. But I started to stage some of these big oak rounds out here. We're going to split these up with the Splitfire on the excavator. These ones aren't huge, maybe 22, 24 inches. That's the end off that big maple. It's about 50 inches. Got this big hunk of white oak right here. You can see that metal in it. Well, you can see the staining's darker on this side and down towards the bottom. So I feel confident that it's somewhere in here. And I actually think I hit a little something, but it did not slow that 661 down at all. This is a really, really nice saw for that big wood. It's got a 3-foot bar on it. And I did a video the other day. It's kind of interesting how the 661 is noticeably faster than the 500i in hardwoods, but like this red pine right here, the 500i is actually faster than the 661. And it was determined it's because the 500i, it doesn't have as much torque as the 661, but you don't need all that torque cutting the softwoods. That's what we figure. Yeah, nice big saw. Okay, so I've only run this Splitfire maybe 6 or 7 times, okay? It splits both ways, as you can see. Now, I have learned kind of a system that works for me. I just have my rounds kind of staged randomly. It's nice if they're headed the right direction. But then I'm going to just pick it up, move it to a clean location here, okay? And I'm going to split it. Knock it open, roll this one back. And one thing I learned, you know, the wedge moves, but you want to line it up on the side that doesn't. And then I'm going to just pick this one up and swing it over to my pile. And the other thing is, you want to make sure you're sitting on something, because if you're not, you'll start splitting it and it'll fall out before it splits all the way through, if that makes sense. I don't use this to make like a finished product or anything like that, but I am just downsizing these to make them a little bit more manageable. Now see, I've got that side that doesn't move, the stop right up against that one. I'm going to bring it over, just pinch it a little bit so I can pick it up. And I can make a little spot in the pile, take a little weight off it, split it the rest of the way through. Grab another one. Now these pieces here are nice and straight. I did already split some real gnarly ones. A little bit of pressure on it. Bring it over here. Oh yeah, that one just fell apart. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful red oak. The one white oak that I split earlier, it was about 32 inches in diameter. Probably weighed about 500 pounds. Which is why this is very nice for downsizing. A little pinch. A little swing. I'm going to let go of this one, line it up a little bit better. You want to make sure you're like straight with the log. Sometimes they don't always work out the way you want. It's a little bit warmer today than it was yesterday, but this morning we had a dusting of snow, which is a little more than a skiff of snow. That's what I call it. A skiff is when you can barely see any snow. A dusting is when it kind of almost covers the ground. But it melted off by about 10 this morning. I was freezing cold yesterday. I was just starting to get used to that like 60 and 70 degree weather we had last week, but everything's kind of back to reality this week. This stuff's really nice and straight. A lot of people have said I should use this to try to like break down stumps. I don't think it would work for that. I mean, the excavator's a good sized machine, but it's still just like a 30-ton log splitter on it or something. I don't know how many tons it's rated at. I never had anything that wouldn't split, but there's a few pieces with a bunch of big knots, big white oak. I had to, you know, hit it a different way a time or two. I don't think it'd do much with a stump. Stumps are just tough. See, this one here I should have picked up before, and I didn't. We'll split her one more time. My phone's ringing, probably another scammer. Boy, we're getting a pretty nice pile of wood here. As I said, I only had like 20 rounds or something ready. Maybe a few more than that. One more. All right, we got a nice little pile going here. Most of those are pretty manageable. Some are still pretty big. But yeah, that'll work out good. Probably split these with the split force. That's why I put this pile right here. We'll set the machine up about where the excavator is, and the conveyor will take it right over that last bay. Anyway, I will report back tomorrow morning. All right, my pile of downsized wood is getting much larger. But I tell you what, it is very nice sitting in the cab of that excavator when it's windy and rainy like it is right now. But anyway, I think that is about it for today's video. I appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget, fire starter is available. Link in the description. Pin comment as well. It's getting nasty out here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.